But today we're gonna look at Cobra from Space Adventure Cobra, or Cobra the Space Pirate, whatever it is. It's just Cobra. So Cobra is a late 1970s Shonen Jump manga series which ran into like the early 80s and preceded like Dragon Ball and Fist of the North Star and everything else. Buichi Terasawa, he is the creator of Cobra, and sadly like he passed away like pretty recently, I think like about last year or something. You know, just like how Akira Toriyama had just recently passed at the time of recording. So a lot of classic and legendary like creators have just passed away. It's really unfortunate. Like the creator of Cobra, the creator of Dragon Ball, the creator of Spaceship Yamato in Galaxy Express 999, I think it's 3 nines, I forget. It's like, man, we're just losing all of the legends out here. But anyway, let's take a look at Cobra. But what is Cobra actually? Yeah, so like I mentioned, Cobra is a late 1970s manga series published in Shonen Jump. And Cobra himself is a space pirate dude. He's almost like a James Bond type of guy where he can just kind of get out of any situation that he ends up in. He either gets lucky or he's just like completely big brained and he can just get out of situations because he's just that tenacious and just has some ridiculous luck factor or something. I don't know. Cobra's a crazy guy. I watched the original 1980s anime and I watched like about 10 or something episodes of it. He fights like this glass looking dude called Crystal Boy who has like a big claw and you can like see through his body. And like Cobra manages to defeat this guy who is like impervious to bullets by like shooting his hand like a bullet. Like, and what I mean by that is that Cobra has a fake hand. Like, you see right here how he has this arm right here? Like he looks like he has 2 normal hands, right? Well, watch this. I'm supposed to talk about accessories, but this is important to the character, so we'll get started with this. Yeah, and then you just go like this, and then bam. And now Cobra has his trademark look with the Psycho Gun. The Psycho Gun is what Cobra's arm actually is. He has a prosthetic arm. He has a prosthetic arm which has a giant fucking, it has a big fucking gun cannon on it, like a laser gun. And he uses this to typically defeat the bad guy. So this didn't work when he fought Crystal Boy, but when he shot his fake hand out like a rocket, he manages to defeat Crystal Boy. So I think that's really fucking hilarious. And you know, he's a ladies' man. He has a cool cigar. He's a smoker. He rides cool vehicles in outer space. Like he's like Space James Bond, but without being a spy. So he's just like this super cool dude. And sadly, due to Cobra being such an old series and kind of being stuck in Japan, he's not very famous or very well known in the Western Hemisphere, which sucks because Cobra's an awesome character. And it's like, and I feel like even Shonen Jump forgets about this guy, even though I think Terasawa owned his own character. Like I think Shueisha doesn't own him, but like, come on, it's Cobra. Cobra's so cool. Okay, so Cobra stands at about 6 inches, like it's about 6 inches tall, which is pretty good, which makes him about over 15 centimeters. Like, what is that? Like just shy of 15 centimeters. That's pretty good. Alright, and for the sake of comparison, I got 2 of the other Figmas that I got pretty recently. So we have the Xenoblade 3 Mio FIgma, which by the time you're watching this video for Cobra, this review will be out already. Still, you know, it'll be out. And then the Figma Samus from Metroid Dread, which I still haven't started yet, but by the time you're watching this, I'll probably be like in the midst of like editing and doing all that. I have to start recording and everything for this one because both Cobra and Samus are for a good friend of mine, so I'm just making these videos for myself, and then he gets to keep these 2 figures and do whatever he wants with them, since he's a big fan of Metroid and Cobra. So, but yeah, but you can see right here that Cobra isn't like super short. He's actually kind of bigger than Samus, and I feel like that's wrong. Isn't Samus supposed to be like super tall, even in the armor? I don't know. Mio seems like the appropriate height, and then Samus seems kind of short. Cobra seems fine. So yeah, I'll post comparisons with like other figures in the rest of the video. Anyway, let's take a look at Cobra's aesthetic. Cobra himself has a very simple character design. Like, he's just a dude in a red suit and a cool gun, and then very muscular build. Like, that's pretty much it. So his character design and everything is going to be pretty simple. Also, I got this figure used, so if there's any weird scratches or anything, then chalk it up to age. So I think they got the face of Cobra. They did it pretty well. My only nitpick is that there should be more shading on the face, because the Cobra manga is very detailed, especially for that time. It was almost on par with like a Gekiga, like a more mature looking manga, kind of like Golgo 13, where, you know, it wasn't like for kids, or, even though Cobra was kind of general audience. But like here, like the hair is like so plainly like orangey yellow. Like in the lighting it just looks plain yellow, but it's like orangey yellow. And I feel like they should put a lot of shading here to try and emphasize like the hair detail. But the sculpt for the hair looks great, but it's like not enough hair shading or anything. It's like little to no shading. I think it's just painted. But they didn't put any highlights or anything to detail like the different colors in the hair, like darker shades or something like on the to create shadows. And yeah, there's a gap here. That's because you can take the face off, and we'll show you what that does. He only comes with one face, so I'm just gonna say that. But it's not like Cobra makes any crazy expressions anyway. He kind of has like this smug look the entire time. So here on the neck, we'll talk about, yeah, I don't like that the neck does this. It's really weird looking, but because it just looks weird. Like, whose neck does that? But you can see right here that the seam right here, you know, for the tight suit, like, it's not very clean. It's very messy. Like, see, it doesn't even go all the way to where like it's supposed to stop. Even on the back, I think you can kind of see it. Like here on the back, it's a little bit cleaner, but for some reason on the front, it's kind of messy. And yeah, this is Figma, so it has a little bit more simple articulation. And I don't know what's up with the way the shoulders look. Like, this looks weird. Looks very segmented. Like, it looks nice when it's like this, but then, you know, you kind of see this. But we'll talk about that during articulation. So overall, his design is very simple. So the colors actually look really good. For some reason, the chest armor, or not armor, but the chest part of his body, when I'm at home and I see it, like, it looks like a different shade of red, but here it almost looks like the exact same shade of red. Like, I think it's slightly darker. I think you can see it on camera, it's slightly darker, but it's still pretty much like the same, like, dark, like, kind of crimson red. And I think it looks really good. Like, he's a very simple character design, so you can't really fuck that up. I don't know if his arms or anything are painted, but they're very nice, matte finished, not glossy at all. Even the joints aren't very glossy, if at all. They even painted like his cuffs here. His hands all have nice detail. And everything's very clean. And the black belt and the buckle's pretty clean. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just straight black belt, wraps around his whole body. And of course the cycle gun. The cycle gun is like this bluish, not chrome, but I can't really say what color it is. Kind of looks like marble. To me it looks like marble. It's like this blue, like highlighted color. It's like a bluish gray? I'm not sure. I know it's mostly blue. But you can see even the joint is a different color since his arm cuts off at the forearm. His arm cuts off at the bicep. So starting from the bottom of the bicep to the elbow all the way to the forearm, you get the cycle gun. And I don't know if it's because of my copy, but I think this part of the gun, like the actual gun part, wiggles a little bit, so. But look at how clean this thing is. Like even back then, like this Figma is thinking like about a decade old or almost a decade old. But Figma was still putting a lot of detail into their figures. Like, they still do now, but when they got like certain licenses, they really went in. Just like on the details. Even if it was a character that was more simple. Like design wise. Yeah, so everything's pretty clean. There's some shading on the boots. Very hard, a little hard to see on camera, but like there's a little bit of shading here and here on the boots, like on the parts where there would be shadows. So it does help bring it to life a lot. Like this is a very clean paint job, and I'm very impressed with that. So I think he'll get like a. I think maybe he could have more shading, but I think he looks good enough. It looks like Cobra. Like you could just tell it's Cobra. So I'll give him like maybe a 9. I'll give him an 8.5 because I don't like these shoulders, like in the neck. Like what is this? Okay, so articulation wise, he's very simple. Yeah, sometimes simple is good. So his head I think is on the same type of joint that Figma typically uses, but it's also combined with this neck. The neck can move around, and I think the neck is on a peg, ball peg. Like, look at this, he can bob and weave his head. It's so funny. And then he can go like this. He can look up kinda okay, but you kinda have to make his neck stick out, which I don't like. Kinda get it to look up like this, but then he kinda has like a lollipop thing going on. He can look down pretty well. Kinda makes his neck, the back of his neck stick out. I don't know why they made his neck so short. They should have had extra plastic or something there. Try and fill in those gaps. Shoulders, well, they can go out to the side due to the fairly simple engineering. Kinda reminds me of Rebel Tip. So, there you go. You can go to the side. Rotates all the way. Goes like that. On this arm, it bends about a little over 90 degrees, which is fine. Here it bends about the same, I think, about the same. And then on the other arm, since it's, you know, the mirror of the other one, should be about, yeah, about the same. So that's fine. For the, oh yeah, and then since this is an older Figma, the hands are on these little hinged peg things, so they kind of just go like this. They're not on like a ball peg sort of thing, so you can't just do 360 movement. So they kind of just only go one or two ways. So that's kind of bad, but also kind of good because then they're on a peg, and the peg just goes into the hole, so you don't have to worry about like the peg on the hand breaking. I don't know. There's like good and bad to both designs. Okay, so the shoulder is on that peg, that double pegged thing right here. So kind of like how their necks work. So it's like one goes here and one goes in there, and it's a ball for it to rotate. So it can kind of it actually can go inward, which is funny. Like, it's really funny how like this more simple looking design actually benefits Cobra and benefits Articulation more than like how they did it with Rhino later on. And Rhino's a newer figure. Like look at Cobra. Look at that. He can cross his arms. Like literally cross the arms. And yet like Rhino can't do that. Like they just need to be able to bring the arms outward more. And they figured it out without having to create a shoulder joint. Like they literally just gave him an arm joint. And then it just goes like this. Like yeah, it looks weird from the side and from the back. Like what the fuck is this? But if you're gonna take a picture of him, you're not gonna do it from the side. You're probably gonna do it like this. I think he actually can cross his arms. To a degree. And kind of. He can kind of cross his arms. Which is fine with me. Yeah, so let me see. Upper body, I think the torso part is kind of weird. So it can kind of lean back like this. Go in like this. Why is it not focusing? So just because like, look at, kind of lean in a little like this, which is not much. Side to side, well he can rotate really well. not much restriction there. Tilting, he cannot tilt at all, which sucks. Because there's certain like cool gun poses you can do that you can't like do with that. And then here, I don't think this is a soft piece. I think this is before they implemented soft pieces. Yeah, but it can go like this. So you can get some lean, just ever so slightly. And it can, whoops, and it can lean back. So yeah, and then forward. How much can it lean forward? It's okay. Not as much as like what they can do now. Like now they have a crazy amount of them. But yeah, it's not bad. The crotch is actually a soft plastic piece, so so this reminds me of like the newer Square Enix figures, where they have very simple articulation, I think. So they have just two ball pegs sticking out, and then the ball sockets connect on the leg, and then it just sticks out like this. So yeah, you can see like all the messiness right here, but you actually can get a nearly full split. For some reason I was having trouble when I was trying this earlier, but look at that kick. Look at this kick. Cobra can do a fucking big ass kick. Like remember when I was messing around with Guyver and I couldn't get that kick until I figured out how to tuck it in? So yeah, you can do something like this. Yeah, so Cobra can indeed kick. Can he stand up while I'm kicking? Wait. Oop, did it right on camera. Yeah, so Cobra can kick. I still think his arms are kind of weird though because of the articulation, but yeah, there you go, he can kick. So you don't gotta worry about that. Can he kick forward? Like side to side is good, but can he kick forward? Kick forward, yeah, you can kick forward. Perfectly fine. Told you, simplicity works. That might be the title, like simplicity is key or something. And then going back, it has butt cheek because it is soft plastic, but because it's soft, it can flex. So you get a little bit of back kick. And then combine that with the front. Get a little bit of back kick. So you can still kind of get like a kicking pose or something. So there you go. Thigh swivel. It's not as oh, yeah, that can happen too. Thigh swivel is not as like elaborate since it's only the basic type of thigh swivel. But like the socket has enough. The socket and I think the actual leg part are separated so that it's not completely limited. So you see, you can turn it all the way to the side like this. So if you need to get like him to bend like this way, or to do some kind of action pose where he's squatting to the sides like this or something, you can get him to squat, and that's fine. Knees, well, they're the same single jointed knees that they've done since like their entire existence. So, and I think they look ugly here just because like they're such a bright color and they don't really match the red that's on the rest of it because it's painted, and this isn't. And I think they've done these better now. Like, I think now it's not as egregious. But yeah, it's an okay angle. It does, I think, match up with human anatomy, so it might be a little long, I'm not sure. But he does have short lower legs and longer like upper legs, which I think is supposed to be accurate. I don't know, anime characters have weird proportions sometimes. And then I don't think there's a boot swivel here. No. And then they have the same type of hinge that they usually do for feet. So a peg goes through here, and then it's connected to another peg. So it's like a two-sided like hinge peg thing. So it goes like this. Actually goes up pretty far. Like, look at this. And then it goes down. Ooh, he got some weak meat. And he goes down like this. And because it's on a peg, and it can tilt. So the ankle rocker is like this. So you get some, not too much, but you get some. So you can get some more elaborate poses. And then toe hinge, and I don't know how useful it'll be on him. Okay, so overall his articulation is pretty good. I don't see anything weird besides like how it looks, like his neck and his arms like look weird, but they function. I think function over form sometimes works better than just having a figure look good, because you can have a figure that looks fantastic, but if it can't pose, you can have a figure that looks fantastic, but if it can't pose for shit, it's not worth it. Like some of the Square Enix figures just look really nice, but like they can't pose well, so it's like, why? You just have them there so they look nice. Anyway, real quick, let's take a look at his accessories. So you already saw this, but you get an extra bicep, an extra arm to match his regular arm, and yeah, it's fine. Painted everything well. It has a bunch of, the ability to put all these different hands on it, just like the right hand. And so yeah, so you see it has 2 fist hands. You get 2 open palm hands, 2 types of like holding kind of hands. One I think to grip a smaller object, which we'll talk about, and then this like kind of open palm hand, and then this kind of open right hand. Then you get his gun holding hand, and you get his, I think, cigar holding hand. And of course, to go along with that, you get Cobra's cigarette lighter, which is really fucking small. And then of course you get his gun. So, and when he's not using his psycho gun, he uses a regular gun like this. So he uses it on his right hand. Cobra typically does is that he literally just takes his hand off, reveals the psycho gun. So it's kind of like this. You can kind of like stylize it so it looks like he's taking his hand off. I'm not sure exactly how it's supposed to be done, but yeah, you can make it look like he's taking his hand off. And of course, it comes with 2 little cigars. And the reason there's 2 little cigars is because Cobra can hold the cigar in one of his hands, and this little like spot right here on his mouth, you can actually put the cigar in his mouth. It's a little difficult to do, but you can wedge it in there. So it basically just stays in there, and you can have Cobra hold his cigarette. I think it's pretty cool. But that's not the only thing you can do with Cobra's face. Cobra also comes with this eye adjustment tool, which we've seen in other videos that I've done, like the Rido video and the snail shell. So so for Cobra, you can actually remove his face, and then in the back adjust the eyeballs so that he can look around. So since even though he only has one expression, his eyes can move around, so you can kind of give him a different type of look. And it's fairly simple. You just peg the eye thing here, and then there you go. You can make Cobra look whichever way you want. And I love this feature. I wish more figures had this. It's so simple. But yeah, it probably costs money to do this, but I think it's worth it so the figures can be more expressive. Because then you can just move the eyes and have them do whatever you want. So you can have them side-eyed like this. It's really damn cool. Alright, so that's enough of that. One thing I will say is that it's kind of hard to put the pegs, like the hand pegs, in the arm. Yeah, this little thing right here, and you have to try and fit the hand in. So I'm gonna show you in real time. Like, oh, now it's working fine because I wedged it in earlier, but I was having a really hard time. You have to like angle it a certain way. So yeah, you can have the hands go in like that. Putting the actual gun on Cobra was a little tricky because you have to like slide the gun into the hand, and it's not like the most easy thing to do. And also, I don't think the hand is like a soft plastic, so you kind of have to like wedge it in really hard. So I managed to do that, and unfortunately, the gun holding hand has a horizontal hinge, and I'm not really a fan of that because that's not how you hold guns. You don't hold guns going like this. Like, look, don't hold a gun like this. Hold a gun vertically, so it would have to go up and down, like this. Like, ignore that, like this. So that's a bit of a problem. So you can't be more subtle with the gun. And yeah, you kind of get this little ugly exposed like joint here, but hey, it's better than the new Guts figure that Bandai released. Like, at least it's not completely egregious, and it does match the color of the plastic of like the arms and everything, so it looks alright. Forgot to mention, not only does the arm move like this, but there's also a bicep swivel here, and yeah, it kind of looks weird. It's just like this big, just like some gapping here, like with the shape of the arm, because it's like half of the bicep right here, and then the other half is the rest of the arm. But they could have just done it here, but it does work. And again, like, this is why I say that bicep swivel is important. Like, look what you can do with that. You can get it pretty far in. Especially like this. You see, like, look. You could cross his arms if you wanted him to. Okay, so I did forget to mention this, but it's a little hard to see, but when I was looking at him, you know, I said that everything looked pretty clean, but this is kind of messy. I'm not sure what's going on with the cuffs of his left arm. It looks kind of bad. It's really hard to see on the fucking camera. But yeah, you can see that's not like the cleanest thing ever. And it's a bit messy, but like when you put them back, you don't notice it too much, but it's still noticeable. And you can still notice the different color shades of red. See, like, this is a darker red, this is a bit brighter and more desaturated, and then just crimson red, and then it changes again. So I don't know what's up with that. Okay, so I was trying to figure out what hand was it, but this is the cigar holding hand, and it's very obvious based on the fact that there's a square shaped hole here. So I think you just put it like this. You just wedge it in like that, and there you go. Yeah, there you go. And then when it's all posed together, you can make Cobra look like he's taking a smoke. And I think that's really fucking cool. Like, Cobra's a really fucking cool guy. He's like this cool, wisecracking, smartass, like super intelligent ladies man. And he's like has a cool gun, has a cool arm gun. He's in space, he meets babes and everything. It's like this dude is just so cool. Like, why would you not like Cobra? But yeah. So overall, like, and he comes with the figure stand as well. But you know, I've shown the figure stand like a million times, not a million times, but at least 2 or 3 times so far. So yeah, overall, I think the Cobra Figma is really damn good. Like, simplicity is key. I think that's the main thing here. Simplicity. Like, his articulation is pretty easy to grasp. Not the best, but it does what it would need to do. The head and the neck have great articulation, even if you can't look up all the way, but it looks fine. Yeah, the gapping in like the neck and the arms and like the exposed joints and everything, that's a bit of a problem. I don't like that. And like, it could be a little bit more elaborate in terms of articulation, but I think if it works, it works. And he definitely works. So let me see. Aesthetics, I'll give him like a 8.5 for aesthetics, because I feel like he should have like some shading or some more detail like on the hair and everything, because it just looks really like they kind of did like the bare minimum they needed to do. And if you've seen Terasawa's art, like, it's so amazingly detailed. It looks 70s as all hell. It looks so cool. But you know, they got the musculature right. Like, he's a big buff looking guy, and not super huge. His character design is very simple because he's just a buff dude in a red suit. And yeah, I think they got everything right. And I do wish he had more faces though, but I don't really think he's gonna be making any other kind of faces. Cobra just kind of tends to have that one smug expression, so I don't really think you need anything else. Articulation, I'll give him, I'd say an 8, because like, there's nothing really inherently wrong with his articulation. It's just that, like, it's not really doing anything special, but what is there works, so hey, if nothing's wrong with it, then, you know, I can't consider it bad. And yeah, the shoulders kind of look weird, and like his collarbone look kind of weird. But hey, if it works, it works. So, like I said. And in terms of accessories, well, he comes with a psycho gun, so he has the arm gun. He comes with a fucking cigarette lighter, and then he comes with 2 of these little cigarettes. The other one's in the bag, but he comes with 2 little cigarettes. He comes with like a bunch of hands, and he comes with a swappable arm, so he looks like a normal person. And then he also has this fake forearm, which he typically uses to throw at people or to just throw away to the side when he whips out the psycho gun. Come out of his hand like that, and then he would either throw it at somebody or he would just throw it to the side. So that's what Cobra does. So yeah, accessories, I'll give him like an oh yeah, and he comes with that cool gun, like the handgun. So handgun, the psycho gun, a bunch of hands, the cigarette lighter, and of course the figure stand. No, 8.5 for accessories, because like he should have had an extra face, but I think being able to move the eyes is really cool. And the cigarette is a really nice touch, so I'll give him 8.5. So overall, I think Cobra is a great figure, and if you're able to get him for a decent price, considering how old the figure is and the creator, you know, passed away, so maybe some of his other Cobra-related merchandise or whatever might be more expensive now. I'd say go for it. I got it for like $120, I think, which might be a bit much, but I don't remember what like the Japanese resale prices are for. Or what the Japanese resale prices are. But yeah, I recommend getting Cobra. If you're a big fan of 80s anime and like the manga and the source material. Or if you just think Cobra looks fucking cool, you should get Cobra anyway because he looks cool. Alright, well, this is for a friend of mine. Hopefully he enjoys his Cobra when I go and visit. And yeah, that's it. See ya.